Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, what we'll do, we'll go through a Git workflow. What I mean by Git workflow is a day-to-day Git-based operation that any developer or most developer would do it. Again, this Git workflow, what I'm going to explain, this could be applicable to a software developer, data scientist, DevOps engineer, or whoever choose to use Git as their version control system. Remember, Git could be used for document version control and template version control system as well. So let's go ahead and see how the workflow is going to look like. So take an example. If you are a developer, so what do you do first thing? First thing what you do, you start editing the code. Once you start editing the code on a working directory, and the moment you start editing the code, it becomes a working code. So we will go through, as I explained, we will do this hands-on lab to see how one by one step it goes. And whenever you decide, okay, now my code is to a level that I'm very comfortable with it, what you do a git add. Git add puts it into a staging, something called staging. And once the add has been staging, so now whatever changes you do, they are ready to be committed into the local repository. Committed mean it will create a snapshot of that particular code or the whole repository time. The moment you do commit, it actually registers into the local repository. Now, if you have a remote Git server, you can actually do a Git push and you can do a Git fetch or a Git pull in case you want to pull any data from another developer. So here, for example, I have created developer 1, developer 2, and to illustrate that, what I'll do is I'll behave, say, as a developer 1. I will do the code changes on my local laptop, and then I will act as a developer 2 on my one Amazon EC2 instance, and I will do some changes, and I will do the push and pull. We'll do the full cycle to give you a good understanding how a basic Git workflow looks like. So let's get into the lab. So this is the Git repo that I'll be using for experimentation. Feel free to clone it and fork it as you wish. So if I go, first thing I want to do is, if I want to do a clone this repository, I'll just go to the screen and I can choose. I can choose HTTPS or SSH. Both are equally good depending upon how you have set it up. So I will choose SSH base because I have already configured my SSH key with my GitHub. Next thing I'm going to do is I'll go to my command line and simply type I will be doing a git clone to my repository. Git clone, and it is asking my SSH key. Usually whenever you set up a SSH key, make sure you secure it with a password. It actually increases one additional step of security. And now my repository has been cloned. Second I go inside and you can see this highlight is doing the workspace git tutorial. This is called a posh CLI highlight. I'll give you a link. You can go ahead and install in your terminal as well. So first thing I'm going to do is I will do a git log. When I do a git log, I see there are certain commits has been done. So to illustrate that, one thing I will do is I will go VS Code and command line I will use at the same time to give a better understanding. In order to use VS Code, I will simply type code dot. It will pop up my VS Code terminal ID. So here I am on my VS Code and you can see I can see my repository and everything. And first thing I'm going to do is maybe make it a little bigger. So step one, what we do is let's add some content. Hello world, I'm testing from VS Code. The moment I do a save, you can see something is popped up here, which is the source control. It automatically detects the change. You can see it's showing the change. And if I want to see on the terminal, I can see the moment I do git status, I will see it has detected my change. So still it is in a working condition. It is a working there. Next thing I'm going to do is I will do a git add. Git add in VS Code is very simple. The moment you do a add, it actually now your code has been staged. If I do one more time, you can see it changed to green. It means my code is already staged and ready to be committed. Now option, I can actually choose to commit from here and I can choose to commit from there on the VS Code. For simplicity, I will use VS Code. I'll say adding some test code. Now my code has been committed. Now if I do git status, what I see my branch is completely clean and nothing to be committed. If I do a git log right now, what I see right now, I just committed some code. And this commit is a snapshot of this code. And if I want to go back, I want to go back in time. Say, assume for some reason I do not like the code I committed here. I want to go back. So what I can do is I can simply copy this commit and I can go back in time. How do I do that? Git checkout, and I just copy paste. The moment I do, it throws kind of an error, like not error, it's a message. It says your branch is now off in a detached head state, means it is not belonging to a particular branch. If I go here, do a git log, you can see the previous commit has gone. And if I right now go to my code, you can see the old code is still there. So that is the beauty I want to explain, that how you can actually go and back and forth. So assume I say, okay, my code changes are good. What I do, whatever changes I did, I can simply do a git branch. If I do a git branch, I see the master branch, and right now I'm sitting on a detached head branch. So if I want to go back to the master branch, I will do a git checkout and do a master. And if I do a git log here, see my changes there. So now if I feel comfortable, everything looks good, what I can do is I can simply click here sync button, or I can actually do a push from the command line. Sync is very easy to press, and from here if I want to do git push origin master. Again, don't worry about the name main or master, because you can change to anything else. So here my code has been pushed, and if I go back to my this repo and I just refresh it, you will see added some changes. And if I check this, I believe the inventory file I changed, not this one, I changed this one, test, and you can see hello world. So here I see how I'm able to push the changes and go to the next level. So example, what I did as a developer one, I did some changes, added to staging, did a git commit, and from local repository, once the snapshot was created, I did a git push. And now I'll go to the other side and do the same thing. Emulate as a developer tool, what I'll do is I will simply launch a EC2 instance here. I will call it a developer 2. And for simplicity, I will choose the Ubuntu image. Let me new key pair. Now I can see my instance is up and running. I simply need to copy the key and connect to it. And now when you are cloning the repository, make sure you choose the right method, because HTTPS has been deprecated by Git as of 2021. You really cannot do it unless you use a personal access token. SSH will be the preferred way, because you have to actually add a key, or you can choose to use the GitHub CLI. For GitHub CLI, you have to install it. And because I'm using a Ubuntu based system, I can simply copy and paste this particular instruction. I will post all these link in the description. Now we have cloned the repository. Next thing I'm going to do is I will simply edit some changes. So let's go to this particular file, do a change here, few changes. As you can see, my changes have been pushed. If I do refresh, I see the changes are here. And now let's go and behave as a developer one. So developer one, remember, this is my local terminal on my laptop, and this is where I can see. And if I right now, if I see in my code, in my Visual Studio Code, let me go there. If I go here, I see there are no such changes here. And if I do a refresh here, it will immediately pull the code. Of course, it's asking my password, and you can see my changes are here. So here is a recap of GitHub workflow, what we did. We behave as a developer one and did commit changes in my local repository and stage the changes and commit and push to GitHub. And on the other side, we did the same thing from an Amazon EC2 machine where we sequentially did a git add, git commit, git push, and did the synchronization, and we did synchronize. This is a real world example how two developer or multiple developer work together collaboratively using a simple GitHub based workflow. Thank you for watching the video.